Clang, clang, clang with the trolley. Ding, ding, ding with the bell. Twang, twang, twang with my heartstrings. From the moment I saw him, I fell. Hey, you said you wanted music at the beginning of my live chats. That's the best you're going to get from this old hoofa. Anyway, yes, Thrash Pondo's here. Welcome all you folks out there in YouTube land. So great to see you. And I already have friends at channel pouring in. Let's see, I got Superplex is in the house saying, is Rocky appearing tonight? Rocky Horror or Rocky the Boxer? Lance Chafin says, hiya, Thrash. And hi to you, Lance. Never lost faith in you, knew you could make it. Tom, the Hungry Jerk says, what it is. Yes, and Tom, what it is to you too. Always great to see you. I'm glad either you had the night off tonight or you got to leave early because I know we're still kind of dinner service, your neck of the woods. So glad you could make it. Anywho, while we keep pouring in, I'm watching for new faces or at least new tags. Gonna do things a little different tonight, by the way. Friend of channel. Oh, music, movies, and more with Brian is here. He said, "Hey there, Thresh. So glad you could make it and M with B. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It's a celebrity spotlight channel, and he brings a lot of you know personalized information on various celebrities, their birthdays, passings on this day, other stuff like that. It's a lot of fun and very informative. Oh, Bobby E and Bobby Renee is in the house and says question mark and question mark to you too. It's question mark and the mysterious. I'm dating myself with that joke. Zuplex explained that one to him. Zuplex says, and I had to pick the worst day to quit mescaline. Guess I picked the wrong day to quit sniffing glue. I used to sniff glue, but my nose got stuck together. Someone just, oh, yes, there he is. Keith E is here. He says, I'm pouring in like a flood. Well, rock me like a hurricane. I don't know. Best I can do in such short notice. I drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And it's okay. My Chevy died it anyway. Well, it didn't so much die as I needed a new transmission. Sad, sad story. Moving forward, Zuplex then goes on to say, oh, yeah, hello, Keith. Already covered that. Johnny Neutron is in the house. Neutron John says, how you doing, Thrash? I'm doing awesome, John. So glad you could make it. Zublik says, hello, John. Where is the fantastic foreskins? I think we all know where they are, don't we? James Die. Never say die. The die is cast. James Die is here with us. Hey, James, how's it going? Bobby Renee is on the same stream of consciousness. Says, hi, James. Don't die yet. And while I have a moment, while more of my ever loving fans pour in, oh, don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. But I have a few other things I want to do tonight. I want to do a few spotlights, a few sneak peeks at some upcoming projects I got just to keep you guys in the loop. And I have a little trivia question I've put together for you. Daily Dan suggested in my last chat with him, it's like, these stream of consciousness question and answer chit chats are nice, but it'd be nice to do something as well, like Dave always did. Dave always had some type of game or something like that. I'm going to try to incorporate that in my live chats, rub the flagpole, see if anyone takes it down and burns it, and we'll take it from there. But like I said, I have a little trivia game tonight, impromptu stuff. If it works, I'll give you something a little more polished down the old road. A lot of people having fellowship. I'm just gonna. Daryl Johnson says, Bob, my other brother Daryl. So good to see you. Keith E says, hello, everyone. I haven't been reading the feed that I've been wrestling Diet Dr. Pepper, but good evening, everyone. I think Siri may have had something to do with that, and good evening to you, at least. So glad you could make it again. My flock is everywhere. Sarah, you poor thing, how's the tooth doing? Poor thing, had to have a post-in crown today. More sympathetic I could not be. The choppers in the front aren't too bad, but the ones in back look like Bronson Canyon. I'm a little overdue for some dental work myself. Again, could not be more sympathetic. Zuplex says, T-Bombs, did you charge the laptop this time? Not only did I charge it, as you noticed, I'm not in the living room, I'm in the dining room. All the plugs in the living room are spoken for. There's no place to plug the thing in. I can only do it with the battery. In the dining room, the cord reached. So I'm actually hedging my bets. And yes, with any luck at all, this puppy will not collapse tonight. I might, but this puppy won't. Again, I'm just going to skip through a lot of people having fellowship. And excellent. It's always nice when we all get along. So anyway, what are we up to? We're up to about 10. Usually we cap at about 20. I'm hoping to do a few more than 20 tonight. But anyway, we're off to a very good start considering I just started 3 minutes ago. Oh, Bobby says he's never ready. What am I never ready for? I'm never ready for anything. I'm always ready to be left behind. Speaking of which, has anyone been watching The Last of Us, by the way? You know I'm watching it. Post-apocalyptic buff that I am. And it's not really a zombie flick. Instead of truly undead, there are people who've been overcome with a cordyceps fungus, which actually does exist. It only affects insects and life forms like that, but it mutates and can now affect humans. And I just love the name cordyceps. It sounds like a core deception type operation in the military or something. And also, long story short, if I ever get to my hothouse read through, Brian Aldiss wrote a novel about in the future humans become taken over by hyper intelligent fungi. But in that case, he's a real fun guy. Anyway, I'll put the read along on the back burner. Let's just see. John Doe says, my feed is lagging. Oh dear. Has anyone else experienced lagging as well, by the way? I thought I didn't have that problem on this machine. Jublick says, it is impossible to subscribe to all the streaming channels. I imagine it would be. Bobby Renee says, host. I said Daryl Cell is never ready. Hey, the more the merrier. If none of us are ready, then we're all together, then, aren't we? Forgive me for eavesdropping, but anyway. I'm such a narcissist. I always think people are talking about me. Tom says, Thresh, have you seen DEF CON 4? I saw DEF CON 4, I think, when I was in high school. That's it's a Canadian post-apocalyptic film. Correct me if I'm wrong on any point. Some astronauts are up in orbit when there's a shit hits the fan event, and when they come back, they land in the community taken over by this megalomaniac teenager who has his own agenda. Yes, I've seen it. By the way, it wasn't bad if memory serves. Oh, Lance Javen says, Thrash Dave is on Wednesday. You just made my day. I was going to do a after party on Thursday because I thought our friend Mr. Sunstrom was doing his live chat this coming Thursday. If he's doing it on Wednesday, two things. One, I'm going to be there. And two, I will have my Thursday chat at the regular 8 o'clock time, if that's all the same with you. and M with Brian. I'm just going to call you Brian for the sake of the stream. And the comment section says, I'm doing good. So glad you're doing well and so glad you could join us tonight. Other brother Daryl says, no lagging for me. Bobby Renee says, no lagging, I'm straight. Good to well, either way is fine with me. It's a free country, but good to hear you're not lagging. Liz Javen says, quit pulling my lag and stop dragging my lag around. Sorry. Oh, I should be careful. From what I understand, YouTube is getting really, really, really Machiavellian about copyright infringement. I probably shouldn't sing anything that is copywritten. And speak of the devil, no offense, Dave. Dave is in the house, says hello all. So, Dave, it was just brought to my attention that your live chat is this Wednesday. Well, count us all in. And I'll be doing a regular Thursday night stream at my regular time as opposed to the live chat, unless you change your mind, and then we shall revisit the matter. Superlex says sagging, no lagging. Yeah, I can understand you there. Everybody wants to say hi to Dave, and I don't blame them. Dave says, yep, had to change it to Wednesday night. That's actually cool squared because Tuesdays and Thursdays work great for me. Now, if you want to use Thursday, I'll never miss one of your shows, and I'll do an after party. But in this case, I'll just do my regular time slot. Oh, and he goes on to say, I can't wait for your Thursday live stream. Neither can I. Neither can I. Hopefully, I'll have a topic by then. Oh, and Sarah says, okay, Pawns, shared you out. Thanks for the shared out. Oh, and I'm glad your tooth is doing okay. The poor thing, she had to go to the dentist today. It's so awful. Oh, before I get too far ahead of myself, Sarah, ages ago, you asked me to resubmit my cell phone number. Did you get that okay? I guess you had a problem with your phone or something, and my number was one of the ones you lost. If you don't, let me know. Either I'll send it to you again, or I'll bother our buddy Dan and have him give it to you, but I will get it to you ASAP. BK on the air is here and with us. Hello, Barry. It's so great to see you. Hello there. Hello to you as well, by the way. Love the stuff you've been putting on Facebook. Absolutely hysterical. And again, as always, if you haven't subscribed to Barry, you got to check out BK on the air. It's nostalgia on top of nostalgia. Not only do they present some of their podcast as some great reminiscences of days gone by. Even the commercials they use are old vintage nostalgic commercials. It brings you back to memory lane. I just absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Bobby Renee says, BK, Mr. Voice. Yes, he does have an amazing speaking voice, does he not? John Doe says, Thrash and Dave in a post-apocalyptic road movie would be awesome. Oh, that would be great. I don't know how far we'd get. I'm not particularly designed for survival in a post-apocalyptic world, but I love road movies. I love buddy movies, and who better to be stuck in a post-apocalyptic event than Mr. Dave? We could go to post-apocalyptic village after village and share our nostalgia and be thought of as wise old sages. Actually, I might be able to pull this off. I'll get back to you. But John, thank you. I love the concept. Zuplik says, copyright infringements. I see a heck of a lot. Scripted material on YouTube that I am positive they did not get permission for. Tons of it. Tons of it. But for some reason, it's the little guys like us they always go after first. Oh, Sarah says going back to the dentist next week too. Oh, it sucks when they can't resolve it all in one day. But 1,000 apologies. I could not be more sympathetic. Zuplik says, love the old commercials. Ho 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 ho. Green Giant. Sarah says, okay, Pawns, text me after. I'll make sure. If I'll text it to you, I'll probably have Dan text it to you as well, just in case my number is showing up on your phone. That happened to me once before with somebody else. They kept sending it to me and I wasn't getting it. But Tom says, include me. I got an AR-15 for the apocalypse. Okay, I'll drive. You take shotgun and Dave will just call the shots. But the old joke in MASH, you will be squad leader, you will be assistant squad leader, and you will be the squad. Sarah says, my channel got hit by YouTube too. I don't know what's been going on, but it seems like a lot of channels have been, let's just say, put under scrutiny. Now, me, I'm always good. You guys all know that. But a lot of people have been getting hit for like really, really minor stuff while the channels are putting out whole movies and getting away with it. But I shouldn't bite the hand that still isn't monetizing me. But anyway, Dave says to Zuplex, there are copyright claims and copyright strikes on YouTube. I'll talk more about this tomorrow night. Good. You actually might be able to answer some of the questions I've had. Super. Sarah says, okay, Pawns, based. Based means good. If you are based, it means you are solid. Keithy. Mm. Give me spinach. Keith E says, I'll bring the Pop Tarts for the apocalypse. See if you can find the nacho ones. Have you guys heard about these? They have nacho Pop Tarts. I thought ew at first too, but what it is it's a nacho cheese filling, and the crust is more of that crispy cornbread, almost like a nacho. So it's almost like eating like a nacho Pop Tart. I have become intrigued. I have to find these. Like my arteries are clogged enough as it is. But anyway, yeah, the Pop Tarts, and that was the old joke. They used to use it in the Family Guy. Framingham had the old Twinkies plant, and Twinkies will survive the apocalypse. John Doe says anything in particular that stood out to you, Pawns, that stood out. No. Not at this time. I'll get back to you. Tom says bring grape pop tarts. Ooh, grape pop tarts, grape jelly pop tarts. Yeah, sure. I'm with it. I'm with it. Frosted or unfrosted? I prefer frosted, but I'll take whatever is available in an apocalypse. Lance Chafin says I will bring the Dr. Pepper. Excellent. We'll use it for pepper spray. Dave Zuplik says you will be surprised by the tons of TV shows and full-length motion pictures you will find on YouTube. I won't be at all. In fact, I'm gonna make a really long story short. Many years ago, as a lot of you know, I'm a Dr. Demento fan. Any other fans out there? Raise your hands. Well, let me know in the comments below. Many years ago, he was trying to reinvent himself for MTV, and he did this one particular special where he did the top 10 most bizarre music videos of the time. This is around 1986, 1987. And one of them was Doctor and the Medics doing their cover of the Elvis Presley hit song Burn in Love. And it's shown as part of a soundtrack to a movie, which I think at one time was supposed to be called Burn in Love. They had to change it to Love at Stake for probably copyright issues. And the movie, to the best of my knowledge, was never actually released, or if it was released in such a small area. Well, it never made it to my neck of the woods. And I remember over the years, I had always wanted to see this film. It had a good cast. It had Dave Thomas, it had Kelly Preston, it had Barbara Carrera. So I'm like, how bad could it be? Well, the movie is in its entirety right here on YouTube. And last night, when I was waiting to go on ENC's show, I watched it, and a little secret, it's just that bad. But after 35 years, I could scratch it from my must-watch bucket list. A lot of people having fellowship. Daily Dan's the good stuff. Speak of the devil and the devil appears. Says greetings. And we all know that's greetings from South Carolina. Dan, so great to have you here. Oh, and I took you up on your advice, by the way. A little bit later, we're going to have a little trivia contest. Well, game. It is a game, not a contest, so please, no wagering. No notification? Well, one, you don't have Facebook. Follow me on Facebook, people. But I did put it on my YouTube community page. BK on the air says, listen for Thrash Pondo to appear on the radio broadcast soon. Stay tuned. Barry, you're giving the game away. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, folks. Barry and Alan have very graciously invited me to join them on their radio show in the not too distant future. I have very overwhelmingly enthusiastically accepted. I cannot wait. But yes, it'll be in February. We already have a soft date. I'm sure it'll go on to become a solidified date. But stay tuned for more details, and I cannot wait. And Barry, just the fact that you would approach me and ask, I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you very much. I was going to keep it a secret a little while longer, but who am I to argue with genius? Zublik says, inject the monosodium glutamate into the veins at this point. I assuming he's slamming me on my nacho Pop Tart obsession. Yeah, probably just as well. Bobby Renee says, I'll take the female tarts instead of the pop tarts. My granddad used to call me pops. So, hey, to own their each. Sarah says, I'll bring the weed. Hey, it's legal in Massachusetts. Daily Dan, who just jumped off the page, I'm going to start that already, has given us a link to BK on the air. Thank you very much on my behalf and his. Uh, Sarah says, Doctor, I'm guessing Demento is amazing. He certainly still is, by the way. He's got to be pushing 70 now. He was old when I started listening to him when I was a kid. Terrell Eugene Bellinger is with us. Says, hello, Thrash. Happy Tuesday. And a happy Tuesday to you, Tib. So great to see you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Tom says, listen to Dr. Demento Sunday nights on KFOG growing up. I can't remember the station I used to listen to too on Cape Cod. It was a local Cape Cod station. I think it was WKPE or WKKL, but it was a Cape Cod station, and I loved it. It was like every Sunday when I was doing my homework, which I hadn't done all weekend, I would listen to it. Dan says, I got new glasses today, Pons. Have you put on a couple of pounds? Maybe. I think it's a new computer. I sit closer to it so you can see the subtle nuances. Also, I trimmed the beard. When I trim the beard, you can see the triple chin. Big Guys 45 says, I am here, and it's not a show till you get here, Big Guys. I am so glad you decided to join us tonight, Big Guys. Thank you. Dan reminds everybody to hit the like button. Big Guy says, hopefully I get to 1K soon. 31 more to go. But I don't even know if the glitch is going on or not. Well, we'll just have to think positively, won't we? Oh, Sarah says, I'm in Southern California, lol. I thought you were in the Carolinas. Well, hello to you wherever you hail from. Suplik says, T-Pons has a radio voice and a face radio, too. No, thank you very much for that comment. It was very, very kind of you. Big Guy says, Thrash Bondo Pons, I'm still done with YouTube until I get more vinyl singles. Check out a Salvation Army. They've always got some old stuff. Keith E says, I was always told I had a good face for radio. Yeah, I see where you're going. Tom says, I live in Northern California. Vallejo, I believe. Vallejo. Like the artist. John Doe says, what's going on tonight? Funny you should ask. I'm going to get to the bottom because a few more people have popped in, and I thought we could do my very, very impromptu trivia game. But a few people are piling in. Gary Carpenter says, I'm here. And it wouldn't be a show till you got here, Gary, so good to see you. Cro-Minion's in the house. Thrash, Lance, Hungry, Zuper, Gary, and I assume means all the rest. But Cro-Minion is here. Cro-Minion, so great to have you with us. Teb has given us one of his icebreaker questions. Hold that thought. We will get back to it. Tom says Dr. Bento has over 1 million albums in his collection. Wow. No, that is a wow. Big Guys, hit him up for some. Zublik says, you know who had a face for radio? Wolfman Jack. Yes, R.I.P. Mr. Jack. Gary Carpenter says, did y'all hear they're passing out the M and M's characters? Oh, phasing out the M&M's characters. I did not know they're phasing out the M&M's characters. Oh, don't know why they work, but every now and then you gotta shake things up a little bit. Johnny Marine says, what do you think? Are you good enough for heaven? Ever lied? Ever stolen? Ever lusted? Ever hated anyone? Ever cursed? Ever lost your temper? No, but I also don't use my channel to proselytize. So, Johnny, you're welcome to join us. We're a nostalgia station. We talk about fun Gen X related retro vintage stuff from TV and film and music from the 70s, 80s, and whatnot. tend to stay away from the organized religion. So we'll have to table that for another time. But welcome to the show. Clark Kent says, we have broken God's laws, but okay. Clark, I don't know if you heard all I just said to Johnny Marine, but please take a page out of the same rule book for this station. And let's just see what else we got going on here. Bobby Renee says, oh no, it's Sunday again. And I'm just going to, let's just see. Connie Fitzgerald says, what would a person benefit if they gained the whole world but lost their own soul? Okay, Connie, welcome to the channel, but again, that's not the format of this station. We don't really grok that type of show. That's fine for yours, but here we're just going to like talk about nostalgia and fun stuff and whatnot. And Corey's comedy channel said, hey Thrash, how is it going? Good buddy, I'm going very, very well. Thank you for asking. And I'm glad you're the 15th like, and I'm so glad you could make it here tonight. And you are just in time, because I think what I'm doing now is I went through some old trivia cards that I had gotten a while back, and I found some good movie-related questions. And I got 10 of them, and I'm going to ask them and then give the answer away before I give the next one, much like Dave does. I thought about doing 1 through 10 and then giving the answers. And I'm like, no, because then you got to worry about matching them up. And so this way I can do them, as always, in no particular order. And again, these are all going to be movie-related questions. I was hoping specifically to get ones from, the 70s, 80s, more retro stuff, but it was a general box. So some of them are current movies, but hey, we all like movies. So I'll start with number 1. In Finding Nemo, Nemo was captured and put in an aquarium inside where? And what I'll do is I'll just give you guys a few seconds. I won't time it or anything, but I'll repeat the question. In Finding Nemo, Nemo was captured and put in an aquarium inside where? And Tracy Ross Myers is in the house, says Robert. Tracy, so good to see you, Bubba. Teb got it, but I'll give you a couple people a chance to chime in. Let's just see. Well, anyway, Teb got it. Some of you may know it and are being distracted by some of the discussion, but it was, in fact, a dentist's office. Moving forward. Gary Carpenter says a kid's room. That's pretty close, but no, it was a dentist office. It may have been a kid's dentist office, but... Question 2. Richard Gere stars in what 2002 musical film? Yes. What 2002 musical starred Richard Gere? And we'll give you guys a couple seconds. Up. Teb, 2 for 2, right out the gate. Hey, Tom Lermy just joined in, and Tom, you are correct as well. And Brian gets as well, yes, Chicago. And I'll now move on to question the 3rd. What holiday is it in E.T. the Extraterrestrial? Yes. What holiday is going on concurrently during the feature film E.T. the Extraterrestrial? Ooh, Brian out the gate with this one. He even beat you, Teb. But yes, Tab, Tom, you're right. Oh, Crominion, you got it. Yes, you guys are on the spot tonight. Halloween. Who could forget that wonderful scene of E.T. dressed up in a costume? That was a riot. I'm going to take a time out for a second. Corey has a post here. If anyone needs a good dentist, I know a guy who only charges $1 a tooth. He specializes in buck teeth. You're really passing the buck on that one. And by the way, feel free to keep score if you want, by the way. I'm not going to be like running through scores. we'll do the honor system here. But it seems like a lot of you have gotten a lot of these. That's very, very good. The next one I got is question 4. In the film The Lion King, what kind of animal is Rafiki? Yes, Rafiki is what kind of animal in the Disney feature film The Lion King? Gary Carpenter says, ouch. No, he's not an ouch. So he's referring to something Corey said, the dollar a tooth with the buck teeth. Tom says a monkey. That's pretty close. I'm going to give you partial credit, but you're not quite there. Gary Carpenter says a bird. No, I'm sorry. Zublik says missed the first question. Okay, for you, I'll repeat the first question. The first question was, in Finding Nemo, Nemo is captured and put in an aquarium inside a what? Tom Lemley says an ape. Ah, Tom, the Hungry Jerk, got it on the second try. Baboon. So yes, you know what? I'm going to give it to you. Specifically, it's a baboon, but it wasn't the ape family. Oh, this is a fun one. This one is a true or false. True or false? The Lego Movie is Morgan Freeman's very first horror film. Yes, iconic Hollywood actor Morgan Freeman, after all his years of filmmaking, his first horror film was The Lego Movie. True or false? Oh, Lynch, you're suffering a delay too? Oh, I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Oh, Jimmy Neutron, I switched devices. Hope it does the lag time. Yeah, I hope it does too. It seems to be. Oh, everyone knows the answer is false. Lego was about Legos. It wasn't a horror movie. uh, Bobby Renee says not fair. Tom was describing himself. Corey says a wise monkey never messes around with another monkey's monkey. Oh, what was that old enough cello song? Uh, I'm in love with the monkey's uncle, and I want to be the monkey's aunt. I don't know, but yes, Lego was not a horror film. Oh, Tracy says I'm on a delay too. Strange. All right, so a couple of you are lagging. Anyone? Lance and Tracy. If anyone else is, let me know. Might have to call it early night tonight if the lagging gets worse, because that's what happened last night. Gary Carpenter says Morgan Freeman was on the Electric Company. He certainly was. He played Easy Reader, among many others. And also, and if anyone knows this, I haven't been able to find this out. I believe, for those of you who've seen Sweet Liberty, in the Sammy Davis Jr. number, Swim to Daddy, or whatever it's called, I could have sworn Morgan Freeman is one of the dancers. They actually do a close-up on his face at one scene. If anyone can confirm or deny whether Morgan Freeman or not was in Sweet Liberty, let me know. Danny Skaten says another like. Thank you very much. Oh, Brian says no lagging here. Good. Tom, I'm okay. Crimmington says, don't you know you're gonna shock the monkey? I shock the monkey. Corey says no lag here. So it's fairly inconsistent. Some yes, some no. To those who are having the issue, I apologize. Tom Lemery says, I will research. Thank you. I appreciate that. Les Javen says, let go of my lagging. Stop dragging my lag around, or stop lagging my drag around her. Stop doing whatever it is you're doing. Sir Blick says Sweet Liberty was with James Caan. Did I say Sweet Liberty? The Shirley MacLaine movie. Sweet Chastity? I'm sorry, I had a wire crossing the head. But you know what I'm talking about. It's a musical. But thank you for pointing that out, Superplex. Daily Den says, he's given the link to Corey's comedy channel, and thank you very, very, very much. Tracy says nothing here but me and my monkey. Keithy says I've got two iPads running. You're in sync. Awesome. Gary Carpenter says R.I.P. Dave Crosby and Gina LaBrigida. Yes, yes. Rest in peace to both of those fine celebrities. Oh, also, I just found out Yoshi Yoda, probably best known for playing Fuji in McHale's Navy, died today at the age of 88. Rest in peace, Mr. Yoda. Okay, Zuplex, I was right the second time. It was Sweet Charity. Thank you. Thank you. I would have gotten there sooner or later. Thank you. Tom Laramie says, what year was it? Sweet Charity was 1968, I want to say, Sweet Charity. But it stars Shirley MacLaine. Teb says, Sweet Charity. Thank you, Teb. Tom said, Marshall Tucker died today. I thought Marshall Tucker actually died a couple days ago. I actually found out about it when I was watching King Ghidorah. And I found out the whole backstory. Apparently, Marshall Tucker was in a different group. He just rented the same space they had. And when the group rented the space, it said Marshall Tucker on it. So when they needed a name for their band, they called themselves the Marshall Tucker Band. If any of that is false, please let me know in the comments below or concurrent. But anyway, we still got some trivia. So why don't I race through these? Because we're having marginal success. And then we'll decide if we want to do it again some other time. But anyway, question number, I've lost count. I'm going to 5. Question number 5. In what city is the Ark of the Covenant found in Raiders of the Lost Ark? Yes, Raiders of the Lost Ark. They find the Ark in what ancient Middle Eastern city? Yes, Gary Carpenter says, stop dragging my heart around you. Zublik says, Paula Kelly was in Sweet Charity and she looked great naked in Playboy. You're such a dirty old man. Jimmy Neutron says, Brass Monkey, that funky monkey, the Beastie Boy hit, although Sabotage is still my favorite album by them. Zublik says, I think it was in 1969. I was close. I said 68. I was very young at that time. I was born in 67, Zoop. Actually, you and I are just about the same age, aren't we, Zooper? Jenny says, who I missed, that real show for us stoners who died actor. So you're a stoner, huh? I would have never guessed. Crominion said, I think 6. Okay, so question number 6. Zublik says, and actually he's a very good company. Cairo, as does Teb and Tom. You know what? I can see where you're going, because when the Germans tried to get out of Dodge after they found their prize, we'll fly to Cairo. I want plenty of cover. No, they're not in Cairo. They're in the ancient ruins of Tanis. Yes, Tanis was where the Ark was stashed, but which I believe is supposedly somewhere in the Sinai Peninsula, but that's just an educated guess on my part. Zublik says, I am 10 years older. You're 65, dude? You hide it much better than I do. Bobby says, Heliopolis. Good guess, but wrong. Sarah says, Kegel. Teb says, Zublik, no, she passed away a couple years ago. Shirley MacLaine? Yes, she did. She did. And Sweet Charity was 1966. So we're all close, but no cigar. Len says, was it Paula Kelly in Night Court? It should be the original. Gary Carpenter says, you were born in 67. We're the same age. Oh, 67. Way back when in 67. And Teb says Paula Kelly was an original cast member on Night Court, the original, for its first season. Yeah, she played the defense attorney before Marky Post took over. I was 99% sure, but I didn't want to be false. Speaking of which, I'm going to go on to question 7, 8, 9. Yes, question 7. So you're right. That was question 6. Question 7. Oh, another true false. In Greece, the main group of guys are called the Grease Monkeys. Yes, true or false? Danny and his gang of buds refer to themselves as the Grease Monkeys. Go Grease Lightning, da 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 da. A lot of people talking. Oh no, I'm sorry. Paula died a few years ago. Yes, in fact, someone did an obituary about that. Was it Dave or the Life and Sad ending? But time out for that. Fault. Yes, yes, that was. Zubalik said true. Ha ha ha. No, they were called the T-Birds. You knew darn well they were called the Grease Monkeys. Oh, I'm sorry. That one was actually funny. Okay, the other Berlin girl. And just a little historic trivia, in case you're wondering what the other Boleyn girl was. That's the story of Anne Boleyn and her sister Boleyn, whose name eludes me for the moment. Both were romantically involved with King Henry VIII. One was his consort. The other was, of course, Queen, briefly. But in the other Boleyn girl, it takes place in what century? Yes, what century does the other Boleyn girl take place in? And you know what? I'm going to give you some hints. Was it the 15th century, the 16th century, or the 17th century? Ooh, Zuper is hot. And Criminian right behind. Sorry, Lance. It was the 16th century. Oh, was it two? Oh, there's actually, I have another one written down here. Oh, okay, this is a toughie. In the movie Bambi, what kind of animal is Thumper? Yes, in the animated Disney classic Bambi, his friend Thumper is what kind of animal? Yes, Brian. Everyone's a rabbit. I know that was an easy one. Ooh, but here's a good one. In fact, we were just talking about this the other night on some other channel, maybe mine, but on another night. Which 80s classic action flick is about the original 7 Mercury astronauts? Yes, what iconic 80s action, Cold War, drama, hoorah, USA film was about the original 7 US Mercury astronauts? Teb out the gate. Yes, the right stuff. And a lot of people are right behind with the right stuff. Yes, has to be the right stuff. Yes. Hey, I got a bonus question. I saw this one and I couldn't bring myself to do it. So you know what? For those of you who missed one earlier in the chat, this is going to be the freebie. Okay, ready? In the 1937 Laugh Riot, 3 Cheers for Mr. Nesbitt, the cinematographer's second wife's niece was originally heir to what princess of the Habsburg dynasty? You guys need more time? I think people are actually signing off. Okay, that was a joke. I made that one up entirely. Oh, and everyone's going, speaking of joke, everyone's going retro. Holy cow, Zerbelik says Margaret Trudeau? Is that legit? I was making that up. The Council of Trent. Although, funny thing you mentioned retro. My wife got me a copy of the Retro magazine, a Remind magazine today, by the way, when she was getting cranberry juice or some drink for work. But she got me the Remind magazine. Gary Carpenter says, Anastasia, good guess, but unfortunately it's not right because I made the whole thing up. But anyway, so now how many did you guys get? I must confess there were 1 or 2 of these I wouldn't have been sure of if I didn't have the answers right in front of me when I was reading the questions. But I thought that was kind of fun, and I'll put together some more. I actually have some old. I used to run a trivia contest years ago when I worked for there's a chain of restaurant pub places up in the Northeast called the 99. I worked there years ago, and I used to run, among other duties, I used to run their trivia nights. And I still have some collection of trivia, the movie trivia questions, and World War II, because I'm a World War II buff too. I have some of those stashed away. If you guys enjoy trivia, I'll do these more often. on future chats. Keith E said 0 out of 10. You didn't get Thumper the Rabbit? Okay, Johnny, let's not block our time these folks out. But let's. You're welcome to stay in the chat, but I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm not going to. I will not proselytize my folks. So I guess you could say go with God, but I'm not going to be reading your stuff. So, Johnny, you're welcome to stay and listen to my ranting if you choose. I'll just see. Tom says block and Lance. Yeah, no, Lance, guys, let's not block. Oh, there you go again. No, no. I don't think that's necessary. If they want to stay and listen, that's great. But I'm just not going to read the stuff out loud. Is that fair? Is that fair? Tib says I've got 9. Ooh, 9 is very good. Gary Carpenter says, Thrasher, you want me to give you some trivia? I'd love to. I'd love to, Gary. You can send me an email. I know you finally got the email address, didn't you? Len says, "Okay, Thrash, gotcha." Yes. I applaud you staying on top of things, but they're not saying anything naughty. They're trying to send a message that isn't something that we do on this channel. So we'll just sort of we'll let them stay and say their piece, but I won't spread their messages. Not fair. Bobby Renee says Gary always gives trivia. Danny says Lance, when he warns somebody, at least give them a chance. Easy with the timeout, bro. Yeah, excellent way of putting that, Dan. Thank you. Tracy says, I think she's probably living better than we are laughing out loud. Quite possibly, quite possibly. Gary Carpenter says, sure, well, wonderful, wonderful. Keith says, I went to the 99 restaurants in Cromwell, Connecticut. Great place. Oh, yes. I'd never been to the ones in Connecticut. Most of the ones were in Massachusetts. I think they have some in Pennsylvania. They tried to send me out there, by the way, but I decided to stay in my home state. Clark Kent, thank you. Jimmy Neutron says politics and religion is one of the private matters and should remain private. Yes, Trace, that's kind of where we are here. Tracy Rosmeyer says, no, I want cranberry juice. Thanks a lot. Actually, I do have it, but I'm like crazy and I don't want to get up. I'd give you some cranberry juice, but I can't get up to get it right now either. I've been making do with this cheap knockoff orangeade, which is just fantastic. It's probably the worst thing in the world for you. But I can't stop drinking it because it tastes good. Trader otherwise is lazy too. Gary Cameron says, Tracy, have you ever tried the light cranberry juice? I always drink that. Yeah, for some reason I think it's better without all the sugar. Valiant Thor says, at work, random channel surfing. Well, I'm so glad you decided to stop by. Unfortunately, you just missed our trivia contest. I had a little trivia game. Not really a contest because there's no prizes. Little trivia game. A lot of fun. We mostly just talk about movies, music, TV shows from the bygone era, mostly Gen X stuff, 70s, 80s preferred. I'm a huge sci-fi horror buff, so we end up talking about a lot of old, scary or good sci-fi movies, war movies as well, huge World War II buff. Any of these seem interesting to you, feel free to put a topic in the comments and we will address it. Teb has one of his icebreakers, speaking of which 1994 song do you really love the most? Ace of Base, The Sign, Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You, Green Day's Basket Case, Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice. I like Snoop Dogg's, and I liked Green Day's. The other two, not so much. Feel free to put your own uh, views in the comments below. Those of you out there who have them. Janice Jean says, I don't like to time the Jesus folks out. Their stuff isn't bad, isn't really hurting nobody, and every comment helps Pond's algorithm, and there is a chance God may get ill with you. LOL. Um, what Dan is trying to say, by the way, is live and let live, and that's how we're going to play it. With everyone's uh, okay. Keith E says it was a steak restaurant, the 99, very reasonably priced, rustic. Would go back if it still exists. Yeah, there's still plenty of them in the Northeast. Valiant Thor says, I love Tab Diet Soda. Never acquired a taste for Tab. As you might find this hard to believe, I was always heavy set, and back in the 70s, adults were always trying to get me to drink diet soda, and I prefer the Shasta. Never really liked Tab. Justin Hall says, hey, Justin, hey to you. Welcome to the show. BK says, I'm back to drinking Tang. Forgot just how good it is. It's the cold and flu season. The stuff's loaded with vitamin C. So, yes, not only is it very, very good, but it's good for you this time of year to avoid the flu. I have to water it down a little bit, by the way. It's a little too sweet for me. I wish they'd bring back the Grape Tang. Every time I see that commercial you show for Grape Tang, it breaks my heart. I miss Grape Tang. Gary says, don't, whatever you do, get the dye to taste terrible. Tom says, Snoop Dogg. Yes, Gin Juice was a catchy song. Valiant Thor says, watching from Los Alamos National Laboratory, isotope production facility. Be very careful. Lance Chafin says, Thresh. Uh-oh. Lance Chafin says, Thresh, I'm done being a moderator. Keep being yelled at. Do what a mod for. Anyway, Lance, bro, dude, no one's yelling at you. Keithy says, I drink a half a gallon of diet cranberry juice a week. I love it first thing in the morning. I do like the diet cranberry. Diet soda, not so much, but diet cranberry juice, yes. Corey's Comedy Channel says, I heard they took most of the tropical juices out of the grocery stores. That's enough to make a mango crazy about a bump. Zublik says, topic of conversation, the great Gazoo, the cousin Oliver of the Flintstones, discusses amongst yourselves. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Did he say that? You know who voiced the great Gazoo, by the way? Harvey Korman. Harvey Korman voiced the great Gazoo. Carrie Carpenter says, Keith, that stuff tastes like kerosene. Diet cranberry, really? Crimminian says Gazoo was way less annoying than Oliver. I'd have to agree. Tracy says, back home we had a place called Ronnie's Steakhouse. Had a business special for $8.99, but they've closed since. I missed the place. Thor says, I enjoy Bubble Up instead of Sprite. I don't know Bubble Up. I heard they got rid of Sprite. They're replacing it with no, not Sprite. They're getting rid of Sierra Mist. They're replacing it with something else. Tom Lemony. Oh, hi Thrash. Harry Morgan Freeman wasn't listed as a dancer in Sweet Charity. Sammy Davis Jr., Ben Vereen, Colin Johnson, Kirk Kursky, Jeff Berton were the only black actors. Thank you. Bobby Renee says, Valiant Thor, you were the alien in the Pentagon. Zublik says, I miss New Coke. Gary Cameron says, Crow, I like the Great Gazoo. Jimmy Newton says, Tang is drinking astronauts. Still is, I believe, still is. Dennis Gaten says, Valiant Thor. What a awesome scene name. It really is, by the way, very cool name. Chrominian says, I didn't mind Gazoo. Yeah, I know Gazoo. He was an alien. How could you not have fun with that? Mr. Lead. Oh, Mr. Lead. Mr. Lead says, hey, Thrash, I just dropped in. I'm so glad you did. I'm going to pause for a second for reading the comments for just a second because, well, two of the three of you are here. I have a couple of unboxings that I am desperately looking forward to doing, and I have to thank two of you for two of them. Mr. Led just sent me a vintage $6 Million Man comic book, which I'm actually over the moon for. And even more impressive, John Doe, or in this case, Neutron John, sent me a crate of vintage comics. I'm not going to go over titles here because I want to do both of the unboxings because I love doing these unboxings. But I want to thank you guys wholeheartedly for these very generous gifts that you've been sending me, by the way. And I'm putting together an actual polished post to spotlight them and thank each of you. Oh, and the other one, by the way, my associate Rick, who I've been talking about before, he's the one I went to see King Ghidorah this past Saturday night with. Gave me another box of vintage DVDs, and I'm going to be going through those as well. By the way, I haven't forgotten my 50 features of creatures. I just may have some new titles to add to it, but we'll get to them all eventually. But Mr. Lind, thanks for dropping in. Oh, Tom also likes Grape Tang. Or Lecta. It's not available anymore. Teb says, which classic all-female rock band do you really love the most? Runaways, Go-Go's, or the Bangles? I loved all three of them. I suppose if I had to pick, I'd probably go with the Runaways because Joan Jett was my first concert as a kid, but I loved all those bands. Tracy Roth Myers just jumped off the page. And wow, I can see why. I took a second to thank a couple of my friends of channels for their gifts, and I got way behind on the chat. But don't you worry, you. Trailer Mars says, I like Green River soda, but I can't find it here in the salt. Watch out for the Green River Killer. Tom Henry says, I got some other tidbits of info. The Musketeer. Musketeer was in 3 Charity. Did you know that? I did not know that. Denny Staten has given us another link. Thank you, Denny. Always be sure to check out Denny Staten's links, by the way. They're very, very helpful. A lot of people having fellowship. Tom says the Go-Go's are the Bangles. Dominic D is joining us. How you doing there, DD? So glad you could make it. I'm gonna skip down because I'm way behind. Lance, don't go. Come on, stick it out, man. We're all having fun here. We're all friends. You know that. The Thor says, I still drink Cactus Cooler. The Hawaiian, the High C? I haven't seen that stuff in years. Jocko says, hey, hello. Jocko, hey, hello to you, by the way. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Led says, what's the topic, or is it free form? Well, we had a little trivia contest earlier. I keep saying contest. It's a trivia game because there's no prizes. It was a trivia game. I'm going to incorporate those into future chats. Other than that, we've kind of been all over the place. Mostly talking about refreshments, but it's so great to see you. Right now, I was going to do a Q&A about some future projects, but I want to get through these meet and greets first because I feel like I've missed a lot of people, and we had a problem with that yesterday. Poor Cindy D was very hurt, by the way, because she felt snubbed by us, and you know me, I'll never willingly snub anybody. Tom says a famous mime couple who had a short TV show who was a dancer. Do you know? I don't know. I'm afraid. Oh, Pat, the Golden Age of TV says, I'm late for the party. Hi, gang. So great to have you here, by the way, Pat. So glad you could make it. He says, nice shirt, Bob. Thank you. Keep the home fires burning, folks. Jacko says, nostalgia's amazing, bittersweet. I know there was a time when we didn't need nostalgia. Oh, those were the days. uh, Brian says, have a great night. I am needing to head off for dinner. Brian, enjoy your evening repast. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't checked out Brian's channel, please do. He's doing some great stuff out there. Celebrity posts, passings, reminiscences, and birthdays. Dilly Dan says, oh, he's given us another um, link. I forget the word link for a second. Jimmy Neutron says Ozzy went to a genealogy specialist and found out his bloodline is full of people addicted, and that could be why he could do so many drugs. I never knew that. I'm assuming you mean his sons, but I never knew that. Suplex says comic books. I'm always up for talking about comic books. Let's just see what else we got going on here. Big Guy says 30 more to the goal. By the way, thank you. Dominic D says Rita Moreno is in her 90s, also still working regularly. Yeah, she was on Oz. I know Oz wasn't exactly recently, but yeah, and she was great in that. Scott Das Gimp is in the house. So sorry, I keep messing up my time zone math. So do not worry about it. Do not worry about it, my son. I'm so glad you're here, Scott. Scott, he's a friend. For those of you who don't know, he's a good friend of Tugs. They do a podcast together. Doing some great stuff. Tug is, as you know, is doing some great stuff. So Scott, you're always welcome to the party. I am afraid you did miss the trivia game that I did earlier, but we'll have plenty of fun still. I jumped again, so I'm just going to go back for a second. Wow, I thought I was catching up. Well, I'm getting closer. Let's just see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna skip through a lot of people saying hi to everyone. Having a fellowship, which is half the fun of this channel. I'm going through. Dan's putting up some other links to other channels. Jocko says over here in Scotland, UK, they used to show Hill Street Blues in the wee small hours. Hill Street Blues is my favorite cop show of all time. Started watching it, was first run back when I was in high school, 40 years ago. Pat says covered a lot of Brady Bunch stuff. While we're on the subject, Pat, may I go ahead and tell them? Well, you have no way of stopping me, so I'm just going to do it. Pat just had an interview with Christopher Knight. Be watching for it on his podcast. That was absolutely awesome. I guess the interview ran for like over an hour. So anyway, congratulations on speaking of Brady Bunch stuff. Neutron John says, I miss those old Ecto coolers. Wish they'd bring them back. I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised with the whole Rick and Morty effect, because Rick mentions them in one episode. They brought back the Szechuan sauce because of that. Left Javen says, hi, Jocko. Teb says, weren't Gladys Knight and the Pips really related to one another? I don't believe so. Some of them maybe. I don't think so. I think I'm almost caught up, so I'm just gonna. Oh, there was a person. Das Kim says, I love that as Thrash Pondo Pons talks about nostalgia, he brings in the All in the Family theme song. I do. Hey, whatever works. Zublik says it's out of context, T-Pons. Everything I say is out of context. I'm a walking non sequitur. Zublik says, how did Christopher Knight feel being the middle overlooked child? Okay, actually, I think I'm almost cut off. Just a lot of people having fellowship. Oh, I'm at the bottom. If I missed anyone or anything, bear with me, but I'm going to pick it up from here. Zublik says, unapologetic is preparing dinner, so metrosexual of him. Tell him I said hi. Tell him he says, Lonnie Burr was in Sweet Charity as Willie. Lauren Yarnell from the team of Shields and Yarnell was the dancer. Tony Basil was a dancer who sang Mickey in the 80s. Yeah, she got her start actually. She did a lot of those old beach movies. You know who her best friend was? Tony Basil's best friend was Terry Garr, and both of them were background dancers in a lot of those beach movies. And Tony Basil did a lot of the choreography. And if any of you have ever had the chance to see Greaser's Palace, it's a Robert Downey movie, not Robert Downey Jr. movie, a Robert Downey movie. His father, director, film producer, that type of thing. If I try to explain it to you, you'll think I'm insane. But it's basically it's a western with a lot of shall we say classical overtones, and Tony Basil is in it as a well, you'll figure it out. Check it out. Gary Carpenter says, I miss my wine coolers. Dominic D says Tony Basil was in the Monkees movie Head and Easy Rider 2. She certainly was. She certainly was. Les Javen says, Gary, thank you for your support. Bottles of gin. Oh, yeah. And thank you for your support. Jocko says, you're a great host. Jocko, thank you so much. You're a great commenter. Tracy Rothminer says, by the way Glenn Miller played songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us, we had it made. Oh, and how the old LaSalle run. Oh, Gary Cameron says, Shields and Yarnell were on Wonder Woman. I did not know that. Pat says that lady's nuts. Tony Basil, I believe it. Mr. Lid says, I want you back. That's going way back. Early 70s, I remember. If I can remember a song being on the radio, first run, that's not too old. Tom says, I ate a buffalo burger. No kidding. Let's just see. Tom Lemery says, Alfred Dennis, who was in Sweet Charity, played the barber in The Shootist with John Wayne. Very good, very good. He was in something else. That Tony Randall movie, Rock Hudson, Doris Day. They play rival ad agents. He plays the scientist who invents the new product, VIP. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ziblick says, I hear Robert Downey was really unconventional as a filmmaker. Yeah, he was doing a lot of drugs while he was making them, supposedly. I was not around, by the way. That's what I've heard. Jimmy Neutron says, I just found out that Brooke Shields posed nude in the 70s for Playboy sub-magazine at the age of 12. Are you sure about that? She did a movie called Blue Lagoon, which is considered very risque, but I don't believe she posed for Playboy. If anyone else can confirm that, I don't think so. Besides, at that age, that's a no-go. But again, she did do a very risque movie, Blue Lagoon. I was too young to see that, though, at the time. Zublick says he made a Western with that guy from MASH with a zoot suit on. Not ringing any bells. Tracy says, I liked All Ricky by Weird Al instead of Old Mickey. Yeah, that was actually a very funny song. Jimmy Neutron says Tony Basil can still dance great. She sure can. She's like, what, 74 now? Tom says Tony Basil was on Soul Train too. Mr. Lid says that's over 50 years ago, Thrash. Yes, it was. But again, if I can remember it, I don't think of it as old. But I suppose on paper, 50 years is a long time ago. We just jumped. Zublik says, Tracy, why are you so into punk rock? We're not going to start that again. Crummington says, was The Shootist the one with Ron Howard? Yes. That was the one that John Wayne was dying when he made. So all his old friends from Hollywood had walk-on parts in it because he was basically saying goodbye to Hollywood. And he wanted everyone he had been friends with over the years to be in it with him. Skipping down. Telmery says, yes, Crow and Lauren Bacall and Jimmy Stewart. Yes, and Scatman Crothers and a host of other people as well. Gary Carpenter says, that was the Duke's final movie. I believe one came out afterward, but it was filmed first. It was weird. It hadn't been released. I could be wrong there. Someone had told me that. But for the sake of this argument, yes, The Shootist is John Wayne's swan song. Tracy says Zuper radio broadcasting was my first love in college, so I got kind of interested in background. I had two majors when I was in broadcasting, and what was a graphic design. I've always loved music. One was a graphic design. Retro Nerd Girl is with us. Hey, Retro Nerd Girl. She says, hey, Thrash Bundapons and everyone in the chat. So glad you could make it. I had so much fun with Excalibur the other night. She does these watch-alongs where you queue up your copy of a movie and she queues up one of hers, but you watch it together. And it's just so much fun. I wish I could have stayed around for the whole thing. But it was a lot of fun. Oh, and any chance you had the opportunity to check out We Sit, We Drink, No Guns? I am dying to hear what you think, by the way. I recently got a post from the director. Believe it or not. Zublik says John Wayne died at the end. Spoiler alert. Cromanian says, Gary, I wondered about that. I wasn't sure. A lot of people saying hi to Nerd Girl. Gary Carpenter says, now you're buffering. Figures. Well, we're getting close to the hour and a half mark anyway, but we'll press on for the next 20 minutes or so. Corey says, I remember Blue Lagoon. That was a long time ago. Yeah, that had to have been 78, 79. So not quite as long ago as I Want You Back, but up there. Jacko says, do you have a cool retro themed tune as your ringtone? Mine is Miami Vice. No, mine is just the generic ringtone that came with my phone. I should. You know what I want as my ringtone? Either the song All Day Long, I Hear My Telephone Ring, or if you want to do something retro, I wanted the Flintstones. He said, yeah, yeah, yeah. She said, yeah, yeah, yeah. They said, yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted that as my ringtone. Bobby says, no buffering. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby. I just jumped again. Here we are. Mr. Led says, I was obsessed with the Asian dancer with the long hair on Soul Train. She did Rick James videos too. I think I remember what you're talking about. Tracy Romero says, I know a lot about punk because I had a lot of friends or punk, but then again, I also liked a lot of other music. As I got older, I appreciate a lot, but I know a lot about punk. A lot of people still saying hi to Richard Nerd Girl. So glad everyone's having fellowship. Liz Jefferson, see you for the watch party on Friday, Nerd Girl. You're having another watch party? I'll try to make it, by the way. I have no idea what's going on Friday. But if you're having another watch party, I will definitely try to make it. Tom says the Asian girl on Soul Train now works for the Air Marshal Service. Excellent. Tom Memory says, and it was John Wayne's last film. Yes. I think there was one movie, again, that it had been canned before The Shootist, but they didn't release it until after his death. But the last film he made was The Shootist. And I could even be wrong about that. But someone mentioned that to me ages ago. And rather than just look it up, I decided to muddle the mix. Danny Staten giving a link to Nerd Girl. And I can't imagine any of you folks on my channel hasn't already subscribed to her to Nerd Girl, but you have to subscribe to her to Nerd Girl. She has the best sci-fi retrospects available. She's been getting into this live stream game, is doing even better at it than I am. And these watch-along parties she's doing are just so much fun, so you have to check it out. I'm just going to skip down because I jumped. Oh, I think I got it down. Sublik says, T-Pawns is backed up again. Ain't that the truth? Big Ass 45 says, I need to watch something weird. I'm going to be watching that Slime Ball Ballerama movie that I was telling you about. Jacko says, Airwolf is a great ringtone, especially at a family gathering. It separates the wheat from the chaff. I can imagine it would. Do you know that was the TV show Bryan Cranston made his second wife at? Gary Carpenter says, Mr. Led, he was the voice of Meadowlark Lemon on the Globetrotters. Scott Ben Crothers? Tom Memory says, Led, were you talking to me or Hungry Jerk? Ooh, good question. It could be either one of you. Lance Chapin says, I am making meatloaf tomorrow with mashed taters and biscuits. Oh, and gravy. Oh, it sounds delicious, dude. Dominic D says, I remember Scatman Crothers on Chico and the Men. Yeah, he played the man's best friend. Retro Nurgle says, oh, thanks for such kind words, Thrash. You were so welcome. Jimmy Neutron says they're showing the original Godzilla on Svengoolie this Saturday. I own it, but I might just watch it out of nostalgia. Like I said, I just saw King Ghidorah for the first time in a local cinema here on Cape Cod. It's too much fun. Zubik says, we are missing John Collins too. Yeah. Where is John Collins tonight? I'll try to send him a text tomorrow, see why he missed it, and hopefully he'll make Thursdays. Cribbingen says, I was thinking of using X-Files theme as my ringtone. Ooh, that could work. That could work. Lukum Spookum says, Denny. Hello, everyone. Lukum Spookum, welcome to the party. We're going to be wrapping up in about 50 minutes or so, but I'm glad you can make it to the party. Right now, we're just having a random talk at this stage. At this stage of my live chats, they usually just sort of devolve into random mishigots about the good old days, old 80s TV and movie trivia, that type of thing. So feel free to muck in, as they say. Dummy says, Louis, the trash man. Yes, he certainly was. Cribbingen says that would be cool too. It certainly was. Dust Gim says, Cribbingen, I loved the maid and her outfit also. LOL. I get why my 10-year-old daughter doesn't. LOL. Zubik says Godzilla had halitosis problem. Ron Unprepared is here. Hey, Ron Unprepared, how you doing? So great to see you. Remember Uncle Joe? You remember Uncle Joe? He was one afraid to cut the cake. Teresa Mouse says, have a nice night, everyone. I gotta go. Work in the morning, more than understand. Lukum Spookum says, hello all. A lot of people saying hello to Lukum. Corey's Comedy Channel says, whether I go to a buffet, I always ask for a table close to the mashed potatoes. Whenever I go to a buffet, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And a lot of people thinking that to Tracy. Oh, Retro Nerd Girl says, to clear things up, Friday I'm doing a live talk, but Saturday I'm doing a watch along for Battle Beyond the Stars. Oh, I was just talking about that movie. I love that movie. It's one of the three renditions of Seven Samurai. The others, of course, being Magnificent Seven, and I bet no one can mention the last one. I'll give you a second in the comments, and then I'll pipe in. Scott says, Superlex, thanks for the heads up. I think my wife and I will watch it before we show my daughter. Apparently, he's suggesting something on the risque side. Yes, always do something first. Criminal says, there's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow. At the junction. Petticoat Junction. So Blick says, try to be their nerd girl. We all will. We all will. Keithy says, nerd girl, I thought it was Battle Beyond the Network Stars. Oh, Retro Nerd Girl says, Star Wars. Good guess, different samurai movie. My geekdom is going to be reflected here. Star Wars is actually based on the Kurosawa film Hidden Fortress, with a sort of overlay of Star Blazers, or as known in Japan, Space Battle Cruiser Yamato. Seven Samurai, which is also a Kurosawa film, was remade into The Magnificent Seven, Battle Beyond the Stars, and A Bug's Life. But that's an excellent guess, because Both are Kurosawa films. Dust Gimp says, Thrash Panda, we are talking about showing my daughter Airplane. She just watched Clue. Well, you know what you could do? Get the if you have Netflix, sometimes you can get the TV version of the movie because I think I know the scene Suplex is saying you don't want your daughter to watch because they don't show that in the TV version. Or just if it's on a DVD, you can edit that out. Richard Ergo says, but also Message from Space too. I haven't seen Message from Space in ages. Zublik says we should watch Battle of the Network Stars. Teb says Raiders of the Lost Ark, classic. It certainly is. Gary Cameron says Green Acres is the place to be. Lucas Bookum says, oh, okay, cool. Mr. Led says, Dust Gimp, how old is your girl? I thought he said she was 10. Cribbington says Edgar also played Wally and the Beaver's uncle on Leave It to Beaver, didn't he? I'm not sure. I'm sure you're right, but I'm not sure. Bobby Renee says, Nerd Girl, your rocket ship in the end of your live stream is slow. Something to say about everything, don't you, Bobby? Tom says, yes, he did, Crow. Excellent. Gary Carter says, Crow, he was also on Donovan's Reef. Ooh, I haven't seen that movie in ages. Wasn't that an early Robert Conrad film? And Josh Kim says, yes, 10 years old. Tom's Uncle Billy. Suplik says they remade The Good, the Bad, the Ugly in Kelly's Heroes. Give me a second on that one. I love both movies, and there are some similarities. And of course, they both star Clint Eastwood. But I'd have to watch them back to back. I do see some similarities, but I can't say one's a remake of the other. I will tell you, Fistful of Dollars is an almost scene for scene remake of Yojimbo. Also, Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis is also a depiction of Last Man Standing. And the scene of the Warriors where the one guy has the gun and the other guy has the knife is stolen from Yojimbo. And people, please, if you haven't seen my Warriors retrospect, please check out my Warriors retrospect. It's right in my content page. Check it out. It has a game-changing theory. It'll blow your mind, I promise you. Check out the Warriors retrospect on my channel. Scott says, I so miss Battle of the Network Stars. I jumped again, but as we're wrapping up, I think I'm going to stick to it that way. Lucas Spookum says Yellowbeard is one of the movies I grew up watching. Marty Feldman died while making that movie. Every time I think of Yellowbeard, I get so sad about the loss of Marty Feldman. Although that movie is like a who's who of comics from the 80s. Teb says, I'm going to get going. Hope you all have a good night. Teb, I want to thank you for your input tonight. Did a great job as always. Thanks for your help. Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. Jimmy Neutron says, when are you going to put out the unboxing video, or are you going to do it on live chat? I thought about doing it on a live chat. I actually did. But I think it's these unboxings go better when I stage them. But I promise I'll look surprised when I open the box up. Criminal said love both flicks. Yeah, they're both great movies, but I don't know if one is in tandem with the other. So the book says, yes, the scene where Clint, Telly Savalas, and Don Sutherland confront the Tiger Tank commander. Yeah, you see, but they're ganging up on the Tiger Tank. They're not fighting each other. It's not an inner conflict. They rallied to fight a common enemy. And to be honest, they haven't been fighting each other the whole time. They've been working together, more or less. So it just... I mean, I see some connections, but Mr. Girl 67 says, howdy, Thrash and everyone. Hope you're all been having a terrific Tuesday. Didn't know there was a live chat tonight. but I'm home from work now, thank goodness. So glad you're here. Unfortunately, we're just about to wrap things up. We got about another 10 minutes or so, but I'm very, very, very glad you could make it. So glad you're here, Music Girl. Dominic D says the Battle of the Heathers, Heather Locklear, Heather Thomas in the drunk take on Battle of the Network Stars. You know, I still remember that from when I was a teenage boy. Let's see. Mr. Lid says he actually did three, Tom. First, he had the Alligator Farm, not Uncle Billy. Oh, good point. I love that Alligator Farm episode. Scott says, Retro Nerd Girl, I just subscribed to your channel. My wife is a rocket scientist and loves sci-fi. That's a good combination. With you and Tug's channels, we will corrupt our girls. I'll help. I'll help. You forget I'm a sci-fi buff too. Retro Nerd Girl says, Message from Space is one of my favorite B films. I know I've seen that. Is that the one where it's sort of like the aliens are trying to warn Earth about something, and then there's all these natural disasters, and bank robbers take over a kid's school? I know I've seen it. I'm just like, I can't put the pieces together. I think I'm confusing a couple of different movies. Course Comedy Channel says Bruce Willis must have retired. I don't see him in the movies anymore. No, he's actually very, very, very ill. He's very ill and can't make films anymore. It's very sad. Oh, Richard Girl says, I love Yellowbeard so much. Gary Carpenter says Marty Feldman was in Young Frankenstein. He stole the movie in Young Frankenstein. Abby Normal. Girl Minion, Abby Normal. My favorite line, though, of course, said a give. Let's just see. Ziploc says T-Pones, that scene is a ripoff from TGTBATU. And The Good, Bad, the Ugly. It was a parody of Clint's movie. I can see that, but again, you see the difference in drama. In one, three men are fighting each other, and the other three men are getting up to fight something else. You see what I'm saying, right? Maybe I could do a retrospect on those two films. This could be fun. Denny Staten has given us another link. Scott says, Thresh Pondo Pons, yours is a deaf. You are corrupting me, LOL. Well, I'm glad to be corrupting somebody for something. Gary Carpenter says Clint Eastwood's first movie was Tarantula. Mara Corday got him the role, if I remember correctly. They were very good friends, and years later, when she needed work, she played the manager of the diner Dirty Harry used to go to. Remember, it is pronounced Igor. NASDAQ, welcome to the party, NASDAQ. Even though we're only here for a few more minutes, NASDAQ says, do you like Rick and Morty? NASDAQ, I love Rick and Morty. I absolutely adore Rick and Morty. At some point, I might just do an entire retrospect on Rick and Morty. In fact, if you subscribe and suggest that I do a retrospect on Rick and Morty, I will do one in your honor, but I probably would do it anyway. So the short answer is yes. Retro Nerd Girl says, Message from Space is about a princess who finds 7 warriors to save her planet. Oh, okay, I am thinking of a totally different film. Thank you. And I have seen it, but it's not the one I was thinking of. Lookum Spookum says, you're a fountain of movie info. Yes, and most of it is accurate. Every now and then I say something that is apocryphal, or at least wildly inaccurate. Where's that from? But yes, I do try to have a working knowledge on everything. Jimmy Neutron says, well, a whole live chat without anybody saying yogurt. Musical says, Zuper, I can imagine mid-60s here in Southern California today. Have you ever been to the States? If so, which ones, may I ask? You mean the Continental? Yes. Which continuous 48s have you attended? We'll actually include Alaska, Hawaii. Scott says, everyone make sure to press the like button. Yes, please do. Tony D says, what? Knockers? Tom Lumley says, Retro, did you know Leonard Nimoy was in the Zombies movie. He played Mr. Spock on the old Star Trek TV series. Um, I'm trying to picture what zombie movie he was in. I can't picture what zombie movie he was in. Please let me know. I know he was in them. He was in the Brain Eaters. Yeah, he was in the Brain Eaters. With Ed Nelson. Retro Nerd Girl says, "Does anybody remember Eric the Viking? Hilarious movie." When my family came up from North Carolina for my wedding, and we were hanging out in their hotel because I was exhausted. We had like 2 days before the wedding. We actually watched Eric the Viking. I've seen it before that, but yes, we watched Eric the Viking. Funny, funny movie. Corey's Government Channel says, "Before you go, Thrash, I just wanted to say I couldn't have said it better myself." Oh, I'm awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Retro Nerd Girl says, "Retrospect on Rick and Morty, please." Lucas Bookum says, "Subscribed and thumbs up." Yes. Oh, and by the way, any of you who haven't subscribed, please do. And again, make a suggestion and I'll do a retrospect in your honor. But Lucas Bookum, thank you very much for subscribing. Very, very kind of you. Zerglik says, "Like Sweet Liberty." Are we still on that? Danny has given us another link this time to Retro Nerd Girl. Dave Claroni says, "Hi, gang." Dave, it's always good to see you. We got maybe, you know what? I'll keep it going for about another 10 minutes. But we're actually just starting to wrap things up. I'm so sorry. It's so great to see you. But again, we're just gonna like wrapping the party up. But anyway, hey, we're talking about old sci-fi movies, TV shows. Retro Nerd Girls here. We were talking about, which is funny because my last live chat we were going to talk about science fiction films, which were inspired by other science fiction films. We were actually doing this tonight. So tell Doug I finally got around to it. So yes, and you know what? We can pick that up another time because I had a whole thing I was going to do on Avatar. But right now, if you have any science fiction films that you think are really good and remind you of other science fiction films, we'll wrap up with that tonight. Let's just see. I just jumped, and I'm going to skip through because I don't want to. People are coming in late, so I want to make sure that if it comes in at least gets a hello from me. Big Guys 45 says, "I'm just here to say goodbye. My battery's dying. Take care of yourself. So good to see you." Zubook says, "I was born and raised in New York City. I'm a music girl. That's why I'm familiar with American pop culture." I just thought it was because you were a very learned person who knows everything about culture. And the skipping down. Scott says Eric the Viking was great. Kevin Scott 76. Sorry I missed most of the live chat. I was teaching. Not a problem. Not a problem. Actually, believe it or not, a lot of people have come in just with you, by the way. I'm getting a lot of late bloomers tonight. And it's so great that you were able to join us, if only for a few minutes. Tom Lemery says message retracted. And a message retracted to you as well. Luke Spookum says, "Got that too, and thanks, Dan." Zublik says, "Let's do a retrospective Battle of the Network stars." Dave Clooney says, "Yeah, late to the party, a little thing like work always gets in the way. Only 25 more years to retirement." More than understand. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. I'm doing another live chat on Thursday, and hopefully you can make it to that one. It'll be 8 o'clock again, but I more than understand. I still work nights. I'm just on a hiatus because the restaurant is closed for renovations. Lucas Bookum says 22 watching. Keep going. That's the spirit. CCC says big thumbs up to Danny for all the support. Yes, guys, Danny Staten, who when I finally get this set up to do guests on my live chats, Danny Staten is to be the first one. So yeah, Danny has been one of my biggest supporters. I have many supporters: Dave Claroni, Lance Chafin, Tracy Ross Myers, Cindy DD. The list goes on. But Danny is going to be my first live guest. Uh, Suplex says, T-Bonds, how long before your retirement? I should live so long. Let's just see. Lucas Boogum says, D&D movie, what is your opinion? The Thor Birch movie? It's funny you should ask. I watched that years ago. I used to work at a game shop, and I saw it years ago. And one of the things that I thought was really odd was they seemed to, and correct me if I'm wrong. In fact, let me know if you saw this as well. They changed a lot of it, I think, trying to make it more mainstream. So it'd be like a more traditional high fantasy film as opposed to something specifically out of Dungeons and Dragons. And I thought that was a little not such a hot idea because it seemed to me it alienated a lot of the people who were really the only ones who wanted to watch this movie in the first place. So, I mean, as a high fantasy film, I thought it worked. But as a homage to Dungeons and Dragons, I thought it fell a little short. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Jimmy Neutron said Zombie of the Stratosphere is the Canadian title in the US. It's called Radar Men from the Moon. Oh, the cereal. The cereal. Okay, yeah. He also did something called Creatures of the Purple Twilight or something like that. Crimmington says, I just rewatched Strange Brew the other night with Bob and Doug McKenzie. Pretty terrible movie, but so nostalgic. I remember seeing it in the theater with my best friend when it came out. Me too. We were obsessed with Bob and Doug McKenzie. We even used to get like non-alcoholic beer so we could walk around with a beer in our hand and go. Gary Garber says, good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. Dave Glory says, Thrash, I would love to be a guest on your show with you and Ian C. Consider it done. Consider it done. We would love to have you. Gary Garber says, do one on the Wizard of Oz. Love to. I would absolutely love to. Retro Nerd Girl says, D&D movie is a guilty pleasure of mine. Music Girl says, happy birthday, Mr. Led. Hope it's a great one. Corey's Gonna Be Chill says, good night all. Stay awesome. Keep smiling on both score. Lukum says, cool. Thank you. Cool to you too. A lot of people saying good night. Bobby Renee says, Music Girl, your presents are like presents to me. Oh, that's very, very sweet of you. A lot of people saying good night. Oh, Jimmy Neutron says they're making a new Dungeons and Dragons movie. I am all over it. I am all over it. And Music Girl 67 says, I saw Oscar nominations earlier this morning. Any thoughts on anyone? Top Gun Maverick got a nod for Best Picture. I kind of tuned out on the Oscars a while ago, kind of an ivory tower, voting more political standpoints as opposed to what the best movie is. I've never forgiven them. They've never presented the movie to a science fiction film. No science fiction film has ever won an Academy Award for Best Picture, and I think that is a disgrace. I don't think you should just arbitrarily give it to the one because they never had it, but there have been a couple times where they should have won and they haven't because the Academy is kind of snobby. So I must confess I haven't put much thought into the Academy Awards yet. I usually break down right before they come out just because I want to know what people are talking about when they come out. So Blake says, is there anyone excited about the new Avatar sequels? Some people have seen it and said it's good. I have not yet, but Mr. Lynn says, yes, Thrash, what you said. Thank you. And Tom says, haven't seen the Oscars since Star Wars lost to Annie Hall. While we're on the subject, Scott says, the new D&D movie looks really good. I haven't seen anything about it, but I'm all over it. I'm all over it. Hopefully by HBO Max. Anyway, folks, I think that's where we're going to have to call it tonight. I had so much fun tonight. This was a really fun one. You guys were very, very interactive. I got a little behind the eight ball a couple times with the comments. I had 1,500 comments again the other night. 1,500. That's crazy. But that's just how it just shows how interactive you guys are. And while I sometimes have to skip a few, all the questions remain in my heart. Anyway, I will see all of you tomorrow night on Dave's show. So looking forward to it. And hopefully, all of you will come back for my live chat this coming Thursday. And anyway, until then, be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.